Hello, everyone. Dr. Melissa Tranquille here. Special welcome to you. I'm so excited to be here. I want to thank you for joining me live. If you're joining me live, if you're watching the replay, thank you also for sharing your time with me. I'm here with my business coaching hat on today and doing what I do best, helping coaches to build their online coaching business. And I'm really excited. I can shout woohoo because we did it. We were on step 7 with the 7 steps to launching your online coaching business. And this is so wonderful. So, for those of you who now joining me live, a quick recap on some of the things we covered. With the first step being finding your deep why. Your deep why behind starting your coaching business is absolutely essential. It's what's going to be your motivator, is what's going to be your driving force as you push through to take that business to where you want it to be. My deep why really is my kids. Being with my children and being able to spend quality time with my children, being there for school runs, being there for the half term vacations, being present when they come from school so I can actually know when the time when kids leave school at 3 from between the hour of 3 to 5. For those of you who have children, can you attest to this? Between the hour of 3 to 5, they are so talkative. They talk about everything that's going on in their day, and it just keeps pouring out, pouring out. I love to watch how it pours out of my toddler, and it's sporadic, right? It isn't a flow like we adults. We can recount a story from the start of the day to the end of the day, but it just flows out of him sporadically. So he talk about in the morning, and then he talk about lunchtime, and then he talk about back in the morning when he was doing something with Miss Murphy, and it's just lovely. And for me, that's my deep why behind running my own business. To be able to have an active presence in my children's lives means everything, means a lot to me. What is your deep why for starting your coaching business? If you're watching me live, if you're watching the replay and you've launched your coaching business, what is your deep why? That's what drives me. That's what inspires me. And that's your first step. You don't want to start off for the wrong reasons. You don't want to have the wrong motivation behind it. That is absolutely your first step. And the second step is to figure out how you want to help your clients. What is that thing that you love to do? What is that thing that you're talented in? What is that thing you have expertise in? What is that thing people normally come to you for? How do you want to help and serve your clients? And one of the essential things I shared about step 2 is that whichever area that you do decide to help your clients in, you find you have gratification, flow, and profit. It brings you joy, you get into flow, and it is also a profitable area. So, if you missed that video, what's step 2? And I also mentioned some of the profitable niche in that area, the profitable niche out there. Watch that video, you can get access to that training. Step 3, I talked about the importance of creating your ideal client avatar because you need to take the time to understand who it is that you're serving. And especially when you're doing, organic marketing, you definitely need to understand the client that you're serving. It's absolutely essential. Step 4 is about creating the steps your ideal client must take to get the big results, the big transformation that you promised them. So basically, in step 4, what I talked about was creating your coaching framework and your coaching outline. Then step 5, we moved on to, so now that you have your coaching framework, your coaching outline, you begin to flesh out your first module, you're beginning to create the client contracts and things like that. You want to start thinking about increasing your visibility, and that's what we covered in step 5. Then you also want to talk about, which is step 6, creating that irresistible offer. Now, one of the key points about an irresistible offer, you can watch yesterday's training to get this, is that I believe it starts from the first point of contact. So many people just focus on, how am I going to make it all irresistible at the end of the process when they're ready to sell their coaching program. But from the time that they came onto the email list, let's use an example. So a subscriber has joined your email list, and that subscriber joined the email list today, the 22nd of September, and they received the email with the download today. For some persons, the email with the download came the following day, and you didn't write that subscriber again until the 22nd of October. And then perhaps if you have a webinar coming up in the next 2 months, then that subscriber hears from you again, and now you expect them to buy from you. So it doesn't work this way. So One of the things in step 6, I talked about considering your lead generation funnel, and one from the time that you've attracted that subscriber and they've joined your email list, how are you going to engage? How are you going to nurture that subscriber? How are you going to nurture that follower? And then take them to that process where they become a qualified lead and they are now ready to perhaps buy from you. Now, what can you do then to make your offer more irresistible? And that is the trend of thinking that I advise you to take. And that was step 6. Step 7, it's all about giving value for money. That is all it's about in step 7. Now, on this, I'd like to share something mentioned by Blessinger. He's the author of Sales Dogs. So, if any of you out there really love dogs, I mean, you're obsessed about dogs, you can read his sales book because every chapter is tailored to the dogs, and he talks so much about dogs in it and all the characteristics of a dog and approaches, and and he tailors it and brings in the selling aspect, which is wonderful if you really really love dogs. But anyway, he's the author of Sales Dogs, and he talks about true selling is caring, listening, solving problems, and serving our fellow human being. So when you think of it this way, I mean, it's amazing because it makes it easy, very, very easy to sell, very, very easy to give value for money, right? Because you're focusing on giving value, you're focusing on really caring, really listening, really want to solve the problems that your ideal clients are struggling with. And when you have this approach, it takes all of that gut wrenching feeling out of the way when it comes to selling your program. So let's talk about giving value for money. This has to happen from the first point of contact. Now, your first point of contact may just be watching a live video. So, say for instance, you may have met me, I'm on LinkedIn right now. You may have met me, or this is your meeting me the first time. This is the first point of contact. And then, because you've been following this training series, you decided, you know what, I'm going to access the free resource that she's now promoting, right? And from the first point of contact, it has to start with giving value from then. From then, so the cheat sheet, the workbook, the free challenge, the webinar, the masterclass, the template, whatever you're using as your free resource or as that point of entry for your subscribers and your followers, that first point of entry, it has to be something that is so amazing that you can absolutely sell it. And that's critical. It's amazing. It's so amazing that you can actually sell that free resource. That is how much value you're giving. I'm not talking about over giving value. I'm talking about you deciding the level of value that you give. Don't think because it's something free that I shouldn't give too much value. You know what? I'm just going to give this little teeny weeny bit because it's free of charge. No, always go all in and give the best value possible, right? Now, what I want to share with you, I want to share with you my inside thought process for value examination. And I'll share with you, for instance, when I'm preparing for a webinar, when I'm preparing a paid product, or just designing a free offer. So let's start with the webinar or masterclass. Here is my thought process for value examination that you too can use. If I was the client, what would I think of this training? So once I've done preparing my webinar slides, I have a look at it and I ask myself, I put myself in the client's shoes, I put myself in the attendee's shoes. What would I think of this training? I ask myself, does this training over deliver or is it full of fluff? Because yes, you want to give amazing value, but here's one thing to remember: you don't want to over deliver as well, because you don't want to overwhelm your attendee. You don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want them to make it, you don't want this to seem like, oh my gosh, this is too much. You know what? I think I don't want to do this again. So, yes, you just want to give just enough value that they feel satisfied and really contented, that it was a good use of their time and that they've learned so much. And yet, still, you did not over deliver, that you overwhelm them. And at the same time, for those of you who know me, that's one thing. This is one thing that my clients always say about me. What they love about my coaching is that there's no fluff. You have to look at it and ask yourself, is there too much fluff in there? Right? If you're a fluff person, fine, respect you. But me personally, I don't like the fluff. So I get the fluff out, right? I don't want to waste people's time. Then I ask myself, does this give my clients any quick wins? One of the things with all of my trainings is that I always give people something to do that can give them an immediate quick win. I mean, it's up to them eventually to actually do the task, but I gave it to them, and I know that if they were to do the task, if they were to engage in that exercise or whatever it is that I recommended, that they will get a quick win. So, does it give them quick wins? And how would my client feel about the value that they've received today? So these are some of my thought process for value examination when I'm preparing a webinar or masterclass. Now, if I'm designing a paid product, I ask myself, if I was the client, would I pay for this? If you're designing a paid product, it's good to step back from it. Good to step back from it and examine it and ask yourself, if you were the client, if you were the customer, would you actually pay for that? And then I look at it and I ask myself, if I was forced to improve this, how could I make it better? So you look at your paid product, and if you are forced to improve it, if you are forced to identify, let's say you're at a seminar and the expert is on the stage, and the expert were to ask you, I want you to identify for me just 2 areas in the designing of your product you think you can even make much better, right? So if you were forced to improve it, how could you make it better? Does it take my client on a journey to their big result? Because, and of course, it depends on what that paid product is. So, say for instance, if that paid product is a course, it takes the client, or of course, the customer on a journey from their point to the transformation. So, you have to check all the steps to ensure, does it take my client on that journey to actually getting that big result? Is this great value for money? Another question, is it actually great value for money? Is there anything else that I can add? Anything else that I can give to my client to even give them more value? These are very good questions. Very, very good questions. Recently, a client of mine completed one of my courses, the Facebook Challenge Mastery Program. And she said what she loved about that was the step by step approach. And she actually followed that entire course, the step by step approach and all the templates and everything. She was guided throughout the process entirely from starting her program to launching her program. And one of the things she said, and she actually got clients coming out of that challenge when she hosted that challenge. So one of the things she said was that step by step approach. It actually took her on that journey, and it was great, great value. Now, if you're designing a free offer, one of the things I would love to say is that, and I've mentioned it before, always ensure that your free offer, if you were to offer it as a paid product, it's totally possible. I'm not saying that you will, but that you're giving enough value to your clients that if you have to turn it into a paid product, it's absolutely possible to do so. Have I put enough in there to ensure that I've given great value for free? That's a question that I ask myself. Can my client get any quick wins from this? Because it's a free offer, you want to ensure that your clients can get quick wins from that. And this is something that many, many people miss. What's absolutely essential is that you want your clients, you want your potential clients, I should say, your potential clients to get quick wins from that free resource. Quick wins, things that they can implement right now and see the change, regardless of the niche, regardless of whether you're a confidence coach, a mindset coach, a business coach, a weight loss coach. If you're offering a free resource, it has to be just as valuable as one of your paid resource. And it should be something that when they implement or engage in the exercise or the task that is given, it gives them quick wins. So that's absolutely essential. Another question I ask myself, my value examination question for free offers, is it easily implementable? You don't want to overlook that. You don't want to give your clients, your potential clients, something that is not easily implementable, that they need extra support in. So you provided the knowledge, but now they need that extra support. Okay, how do I go and design this on Canva? How do I go and design XYZ? So is it something that's easily implementable? Because remember, the whole focus of a free resource is to get that potential client quick wins so that they can get immediate value and see immediate value to working with you. Does that make any sense? Let me know if that makes any sense. In a nutshell, what you see here, the aim is to put yourself in your client's shoes and to respond to those reflection questions with objectivity and honesty. And that is the aim. That's what's important. Put yourself in your client's shoes. Now, I want to say to those of you watching me live or the replay that you can design an amazing coaching business that gives great value to your clients and get paid doing so. So if you want to start your coaching business, or if you've been running your coaching business for a couple of years and you're ready to get the support and guidance that you need, just reach out to me and let's have a chat about how I can help you. My doors are now open to work with me. I'll be talking more about that tomorrow. And cut the learning curve, avoid the mistakes, and really, really dive right into setting up and launching your coaching business the right way. So, if this is something that interests you, just reach out to me and let me know. So, that's it for now. I want to say thank you so much and have an awesome, awesome, awesome day.